$5,833. $161.6. Will today be the day I can finally hit more than one parlay? Will today be the day I can finally go home a winner? I'm so glad I have no Ironman workouts today. All right, so it was finally Saturday. I had a big day of betting ahead of me. I was going to stay at the Red Rock Sportsbook and watch Saturday's college football games for as long as I could until I got sick of being in there. Like, I can't sit at a sportsbook all day. It just gets too smoky and loud, and I get hungry and thirsty. You know, I just want to leave. So obviously I had my betting spreadsheet ready to go. I had everything break out. Finally 9 o'clock hit. I got there at 7:30. So I had obviously games going on at all facets. So I think right here I'm showing a Buffalo field goal that I needed for them to cover, which was a big deal. The game on the far screen, I don't know if you can see it, but it was UNC and Appalachian State, and it just went back and forth. And I got so lucky in that game. I had UNC -1, and you never see me show emotion at a sportsbook. I never do. I'm very calm. But here I'm showing emotion because UNC returned a onside kick for a touchdown to help cover. Something that burned me 2 straight weeks back in 2019. I was finally on the right side of that very rare occurrence, but it was a back and forth game, but UNC covered, so I won my second parlay because of that, and I was pretty happy. So I finally got over that multiple parlay hump. So for the Saturday AM games, I did pretty good, about $250 worth of profit or so. If I'm trying to see it, or 200 or so. But yeah, I did pretty good, and I finally got on the board with teasers as well. So AM games went well, and so then the afternoon games happened. I think UTSA, I didn't want them to make that field goal because I had them +4, and it went to overtime, but they still covered. So I also did very good in the afternoon games as well. So everything was looking very good, but I still had a bulk of my games at night, as you can see, a lot. But I finally got tired of being there, so I left. I was hungry, just tired of being there, so I was like, I'll just follow the rest of the games on my phone or back in my hotel room. The sun was still up. I just couldn't do the full marathon, guys. So I was talking about where I'm going to go eat. There's one place I haven't been to on this trip yet that you probably were waiting for me to go to, and there it is. My favorite chicken and wing place in Las Vegas, Chicken Shack off Sunset Boulevard. And they had games on in there that I was paying attention to. Utah and Florida is probably the main one. I had Utah -3, and you'll see that in a second. But there's the food. I got wings, chicken, buffalo cheese fries. But here's the Utah game. Like, the one thing you can't do in this situation is throw an interception. I mean, you're down 3. Worst case scenario, you kick a field goal and tie the game, but he throws an interception. Utah might have made the playoff if they didn't lose that game. But anyway, it wasn't that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. And then I went to my favorite frozen custard place. Like, this is the smoothest frozen custard I've ever eaten. Like, buttery smooth texture. I've never had anything like it. And I couldn't make up my mind which flavor I wanted, so I just got them both because I'm fat like that. So anyway, I was tired, ready to head back to the hotel before Saturday night, before Labor Day. Traffic got too bad. As you can see, they had people directing traffic in the parking lot, so that's how hectic it was. But I got lucky and found a spot. Came back into the room, and here's how I was doing before the very late games. Like, there's some late games that I just didn't want to stay up for, but I was up quite a bit before those late games. So no matter how they turned out, I was going to have a winning day, and so I was satisfied. Man, look at that second teaser from the bottom. That's a tough pill to swallow. The only loser was NC State -5, and that's when they got stuffed. They got stuffed on the goal line on 2 straight possessions where they had it 1st and goal at the 1 and got stuffed. Turned over on downs twice in a row. Couldn't get 1 damn yard, and that's the only one that lost. Otherwise I would have won $240. That's a tough one, NC State. Ugh. Ugh. Well, this year's Las Vegas trip is almost over, but I'm feeling good because this is the first time in 7 years that I'm going to go home a winner from this. It's been a long time coming. So tomorrow, Sunday, I will be leaving. Yes, I have Ironman workouts tomorrow. I have a 2.1 mile swim, and I also have a 90-minute run. Then I'm going to go cash my tickets, and then I'm going to hit the road. I'm feeling real great. Finally back in the win column for the first time since 2015 for this trip that I've done every year since 2011. All right, lost on Washington State, won on Oregon State, won on Washington. It all comes down to Western Kentucky. 49 they won. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so the final results. I won $861.13 for week 1. Wow, not bad at all. This is my best week ever when it comes to coming to Las Vegas. I won $313 on parlays. I lost $25 on teasers. Think about how good it would have been if NC State didn't get stuffed twice in a row on 1st and 1 at the goal line on 2 different possessions. Nice. Very nice. Final weigh-in of the trip, 163.8. Because I'm up early, it's 5:15. I'm just gonna get my 90-minute run in now, get it over with. I didn't expect to be up till a lot later, so I'm just gonna go down the street to Desert Breeze Park and run around for an hour and a half. And so I got up early, like I said, to go run just because it was still cool. Like I said, before the sun comes up, even though it's like 90 degrees, as long as the sun's not up in Las Vegas, it's really not bad when you're running because there's no humidity. So, but the problem with this park, I used to go run there all the time when I lived in Las Vegas. But the problem with this park is it's a homeless encampment. There's just homeless people everywhere. And I knew that. I knew that when I lived there. I just kind of forgot about it. But literally, like every bench and gazebo and even on the playground, come on, guys. Like, it was just kind of pathetic. But it was a very easy 90-minute run despite all that. I didn't really think much of it. Just a very routine, easy pace, nothing major. Just getting it out of the way so I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day, which was a big deal. It's nice knowing that you got that out of the way early. The sad part is that that's just a fraction of the water bottles I consumed during this stay. Anyway, this stay is over, at least in Palms Place. One last look out the window. Yep, I'll give it about 2 or 3 weeks until I wish I was back here. Winning tickets and losing tickets. I only had one Superbook Westgate losing ticket, but most of my South Point tickets were losers. And I'm gonna have a lot of Red Rock tickets to cash. All right, what is the least number of trips I can make downstairs? I have 2 duffel bags, a suitcase, a backpack, and the soft cooler. So I finally left the hotel room. I always like staying there, and it's really a great place to stay. Highly recommended. You can find it on Airbnb, so you don't have to pay the resort fee. That's what I do. So I was originally going to go swim, but every single pool in the Las Vegas area was closed. Sunday before Labor Day, I get it, but nowhere to swim. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll just swim tomorrow when I get home. And so I watched a movie before I went on this trip called The Cannonball Run, where people try to drive across the country from New York to California. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go cash my tickets everywhere. So obviously got to get that out of the way. So I went around to Red Rock first to catch my tickets. Got a lot of money there, and I was carrying around this cash box because, you know, I didn't want people to steal all the thousands of dollars of cash I was walking around with before I could get it into the bank. Also got a lot of money at Westgate, and then finally went over to South Point to cash the remainder of my tickets. And so I left South Point. And so back on the subject of the Cannonball Run, right? I was like, you know what? Why don't I just drive straight from Las Vegas back home to Fort Worth, Texas? Why don't I just do that? Like, I wonder how bad it would be. Up until this point, the longest drive I've ever done in my life, I think it was like 10 hours in one sitting, and that was from, I think, Denver, Colorado to Cedar Rapids, Iowa in 2014, 10 hours or so. And I was like, I usually like to drive 8 or less hours on a road trip, you know, just so I'm not in the car for so long. But I was like, I can save money not having to get a hotel room in Albuquerque, and I can get back and have all of Labor Day off at home to kind of relax and everything before going back to work on Tuesday. I also don't have to worry about where I'm going to swim, you know, and so that was the idea. Let's do it all in one sitting. Let's see if I can do it. And if it was really too bad, I could always stop somewhere and stay in a hotel. Like, I was just going to let's see if I can do it. So I looked it up, and it said it was going to take 17 hours on my phone as it was. And I was like, 17 hours, I bet I could do better than that. Let's try to do like 16 or so. And so let's do it. I took off from this gas station over by South Point, and I was on my way heading eastbound to Fort Worth. I was going to try to do it all in one go, driving through the Hoover Dam area, entering Arizona. So far, so good. I made it to Kingman, Arizona, which is usually like the first kind of area, in an hour and 20 minutes. And then I started to head towards Flagstaff, Arizona. No big deal. Got to Flagstaff. As you can see, bugs on my windshield. Stopped to get gas for the first time in Flagstaff. Also scraped the window. And then I made it to New Mexico. Things were going along smoothly. There's Albuquerque right there in the distance. Usually Albuquerque would be the place I would stop, but I was feeling really good. I stopped to get gas east of Albuquerque and Moriarty. And then I also stopped to get some food at Taco Bell. You know, I just wanted to get somewhere quick, somewhere I wouldn't have to sit down and eat. Got some Taco Bell for the road. And then I continued to head east. Like I said, this is normally where I would have stopped, but I decided to keep pushing forward. I made it to Texas. It was getting dark, still feeling good. LSU, Florida State, I was listening to that game on the radio, which had a good finish. Stopped at the same Loves in Amarillo that I stopped on the way to Las Vegas. Still feeling very good. Headed back to Fort Worth. Finally made it to 287, Wichita Falls. Still dark, and there's Fort Worth in the background, and I made my exit to where I live, and I pulled up in my parking space, and it took me 15 hours, 18 minutes, and 26 seconds, so I beat it by about an hour, 45 minutes, the projected time, and it was very easy, like, that 15 hours went by very quickly, like, I didn't have any trouble at all with getting tired, or I don't know, but it was just very calm and serene and peaceful. Highly recommend it. I'll probably do it again. But anyway, that wraps up for my commentary on this trip in terms of the green screen. Final weigh-in 160.1, so I gained like half a pound on the trip. $5,833. Good morning, or good afternoon. It's 12:08. I slept like 7 hours. All right, final thoughts for this trip. Number one, I felt like the Ironman training kind of kneecapped me and held me back from truly enjoying myself because it sucked up so much time, and there are just so many things I couldn't do because I was like, oh, I have to do Ironman in the morning, or I don't have enough time for that because I have to do Ironman training. So if you're ever training for an Ironman, don't take a vacation in the middle of it. About the only positive was that it allowed me to eat more and feel less guilty about what I was eating, but apart from that, it really kind of put a wet blanket on everything. And number two, I used to spend weeks before going to Las Vegas for week one of college football every year working on college football models, and would go to Las Vegas and bet using a model, and I would lose. And this year I went with no model and took about 2 seconds per game, put money on every single game, and won like $830. So despite putting in a tiny fraction of the effort I normally did, I had much better results. Now you can see why I'm retired from sports betting modeling and don't bet on sports anymore. Because you'd put in all this effort using a model to bet with, and you'd have the same results as you would have betting with your gut. Now I'm not saying betting with your gut like I did this week is going to make you win, because if I did that every week I'd end up losing in the long run. I just got lucky this week. But what I'm saying is that you're going to get the same results as I did with my data science background building out a model, but the difference being far less effort. Now I'm not saying it's impossible to build a model that's going to win you long term. It's just so much effort, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So those are the two main takeaways of this trip. I hope you enjoyed this video series, Sports Betting Truth in Las Vegas 2022. I don't know if I'll do it again next year. It is an annual tradition, but you never know year to year. But maybe I'll be back next year. This is Sports Betting Truth, signing off.